But we are going to move on to talk about the war between Israel and Palestine. Let's move to 1846. And I don't know if y'all could tell with the lighting in the background, it keeps going light and dark. My light keeps going on and off, but it is what it is. All right, so let's move on.
Madam Vice President, I want to switch gears a little bit and
I'm
talk
speaking.
about the war in Gaza. You've called for a ceasefire hostage deal and a two-state solution as an end to the war for many months now. And while you've expressed support for Israel to defend itself, a two-state solution and a ceasefire are at odds with what Benjamin Netanyahu has said is their right to defense. If it matters, as you say, how Israel defends itself, where do you see the line between aggression and defense? And our power as Israel's ally to do something?
Okay, a lot to unpack in what you just said. So let's start with this. I absolutely believe that this war has to end, and it has to end as soon as possible. And the way that will be achieved is by getting a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done.
Yeah, no, Sherlock.
And we are working around the clock to achieve that end.
Same thing AOC said in her speech at the DNC. Working around the clock. Working around the clock. Yo, just make it happen. Just tell, yo, you're in office. She acts as if she's not. We're working around the clock. What does that mean? Like, you can't, if somebody comes to you, let's say you're at work and you need something from another employee, a colleague. You're like, yo, you got that? Nah, we're working around the clock though. Like, yo, we at a certain point, you gotta present something. You gotta stand on something. Yeah, you're gonna maybe you're gonna piss off one side, maybe you're gonna piss off both sides. If you piss off both, maybe that's the best thing. Maybe that's the best thing. But you have to step in and you have to do something eventually. It's only gonna get worse. Like, are we not realizing that every day? I don't know if it's just my algorithm on Twitter or X or my algorithm on YouTube, but I'm seeing stuff every day that shows me that we are getting closer and closer to WW3. We are getting closer and closer to it. So I don't know what she's talking about. Like, at a certain point, yo, this stops right now. And this is how it's going to go. Either y'all are going to do this or you're going to have American problems. And y'all are going to do this or y'all going to have American problems. So because neither one of y'all can afford American problems, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring y'all together. We're going to do this. Don't worry. You don't even have to think anymore. We're taking over this. That's what you do as the big brother. That's what you do when you have two of your homies or two, whoever, people that you want to support, especially for the Democratic side. You want to support the Palestinians. You clearly want to support Israel. So then that's what you do when you got two of your mans, those both your mans, they going through it. Yo, y'all going to come together. We tried to give y'all some time to work it out yourselves. Now I'm stepping in because now it's going to impact a whole bunch of other people that don't need to be impacted. Now it's going to cause a whole bunch of others, 18 to 30-year-old young men and young women to die, and they don't need to if we go to war. Now it's going to cause a whole bunch of other, I shouldn't even just say that age group. It's going to cause a lot of others, elders, kids. We're stopping this now. Do we think that she's strong enough to do something like that?
Stepping back, October 7, 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered, and actually and some Americans, by the way, in that number, slaughtered. Young people who were attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And yes, so I have said, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would.
But Madam Vice President, I think my ask is the difference between aggression and defense.
No, but it's important to put it in context, which is what I'm doing.
I told y'all, Shorty ain't playing.
And so how it does so matters. And far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Women and children. We have seen with horror the images coming out of Gaza. And we have to take that seriously. And we have to agree.
So AA said that's a lie. It was debunked. You're talking about as far as the women being raped, right? Yeah, I did hear. I believe that the Israeli news outlets came out and said that that was not the case. That I think there may have been one situation, but I think they debunked. I think they debunked all of them, if not the overwhelming majority of them. But yeah, I wasn't even gonna say it, so I'm glad that you said it. But yeah, like it's like I could have. Yeah, this is who we're getting ready to vote for as the leader of our country. And I don't want to hear about the lesser of two evils. I don't want to hear about joy. I don't want to hear about, oh, Donald Trump's just an asshole. I don't want to, we're talking about our survival here. Like we could have had that energy years ago. Now it's to a point. You ever been in a game where it's just like, there's a certain point in time in the game where, we're not talking about everything that, from a nice standpoint, like, okay, yeah, make sure, it's crunch time. It's crunch time. So I may speak to you in a certain way that's going to be direct just to get the job done. And that's the only thing that I'm concerned with. So Uncompetitive wrote, there were many gang R's, grapes, many gang grapes. Different information. I'm assuming that you're not there. I'm definitely not there. AA, I'm sure. I'm assuming is not there. But what I'm referring to is that I believe that I believe I saw a story, or I heard a report that was saying very clearly that didn't happen as it was presented to us. And matter of fact, there was the story in the New York Times. With the New York Times, there was a big deal with them saying these things. And then when the family of a particular group of young women came out and they were saying different things, saying like, this is cruel enough, whether or not it was regardless of a rape or a grape. So let's keep moving on. Sorry, wrong one.
That not only must we end this war, but we have to have a goal of a two-state solution, because there must be stability and peace in that.
She's speaking as if she's an 8th grader in school trying to create the ideal society and just saying, why can't we all just get along? We need to have a two-state. Like, ma'am, we get all these things that we need, but what we're asking you as the person who's supposed to put them in play, how is it going to get done?
That reason, in as much as what we do in our goal is to ensure that Israelis have security and Palestinians in equal measure have.
And Uncompetitive, I think you heard me incorrectly. New York Times was the one that was reporting what you're saying. so you just said don't trust New York Times. That didn't age well. New York Times was the one that was saying what you're saying. So should I not trust the New York Times? I know you just wrote don't trust the New York Times in the comment. Should I not trust them if they don't agree with what you're saying, or should I trust them if they do agree with what you're saying? Because you just wrote don't trust the New York Times. The New York Times is the one that actually said what you're saying. So, but like I said, we're not there. I'm being totally honest. I don't know exactly what's going on. Can we imagine how much propaganda, and I'm talking about on both sides, look at the amount of propaganda that that is happening to us by our own leaders. Look at the propaganda. Like they were showing, I remember during 2020, they were showing, they were acting like a video was New York City hospital, and it was like something like overseas in Europe or something like that. Like who knows what's going on? None of us know what's really going on. It's just news outlets reporting one thing or another. And I don't care whether it's somebody that you know who said it, somebody that we don't know. We don't know personally. We don't know. We're just going off of people that we can hopefully trust. And if 2024, if the years before haven't taught us, then 2024 should teach us that we can't trust anything. Everything has to be verified. And a lot of times we can't verify this information. We can't. So maybe this is an interesting thing to think about, because if we can't verify information now in this generation of this technological era that we're living in, think about it. How could we have verified information back in the day? 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 200 years ago. And uncompetitive. I saw, you said that I misheard you. No, it's all good. But I'm just, to your point, though, I'm just saying, I agree. You can't trust the New York Times. You can't trust them. And it's a shame. It's a shame. We can't trust it. And it's because now is such an information age, in my opinion, with platforms like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and X, where you can get so much of your information. Now, not as many people are tuning into the mainstream news outlets. So they just feel like they have to be so much more less objective and more biased and just have such strong points in order to get our attention. So they end up getting out of that non-biased, objective journalist mode and getting into just like a mode of almost, hey, I'm just aligning with a particular group, or I'm pushing a particular agenda, or I'm trying to get you to think the way that I'm thinking, and not trying to just present information to you and you process it and make your own opinion on it. But let's keep going. I think we're going to move on to, hold on, what's the next topic? Because I was a little bit lost there. 2853. So we're going to move to, what's this one? It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.